Steve was driving his Model 3 down a highway in Fort Worth, Texas. It was 2 a.m. and Steve had just gotten off work at his job as a healthcare worker. All of a sudden, he watched a wrong-way driver hit the rear axle of a semi-truck before careening into him. The impact was so hard that the Teslacam broke and the video feed cut out at the moment of impact. Miraculously, Steve was unharmed in the accident and was able to crawl out of the Tesla on the passenger side. Police responded to the scene, and the driver of the pickup truck was arrested for driving under the influence. Steve's insurance provider declared his Tesla a total loss. Alan was driving his Model 3 on a highway in Canada. Just as he was about to change lanes, the trailer in front of him lost a wheel. The wheel bounced all over the highway before hitting Alan's windshield. Alan stopped, but the trucker pulling the trailer just kept on trucking, so he called the police. Alan had to have his Tesla towed away. He filed an insurance claim, and the Teslacam footage was very helpful in proving what had happened. Ryan was driving to work early one morning when a Dodge Challenger flew by him in the left lane. The driver of the Dodge then drifted into the center wall and lost control. Ryan suspects he might have fallen asleep or been drinking. As soon as his car stopped moving, he opened the door and got out. Ryan called 911 to report the accident. Ryan says he and his family of 5 are big fans of the channel. Shout out to the R3 family. George was driving his Model 3 in Sacramento, California, and was making steady progress as he passed a truck in the middle lane. The lady behind him apparently thought he wasn't going fast enough, only 70 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone, so she figured she'd teach him a lesson. Things didn't quite go as she'd planned, though. When she cut off George to brake check him, she lost control and spun into the median. George thought to himself that instant karma is best served ice cold. Then he called 911 to report the road rage incident to the California Highway Patrol and offered to send them his Teslacam video. Joe's dad was driving his Model Y in Stamford, Connecticut. He was heading home from work when a car came zooming past him on the right. The driver went to make a left turn without checking for oncoming traffic and slammed into an SUV going the opposite direction. Joe's dad said it seemed like the driver was distracted and probably swerved to miss hitting the car in front of him, instead choosing to hit a car head-on. Joe's dad told those involved that he had footage of the accident and gave them his contact information. So far, nobody has contacted him to get a copy of the footage. Andrew has a crazy neighbor. This surveillance video shows a time when his neighbor tried to unplug Andrew's Tesla from an outlet he pays for, since he apparently thought Andrew was stealing electricity. Andrew confronted the neighbor, which only resulted in him spitting on the Tesla. Andrew then called the police and requested a protection order. Process servers have been to the neighbor's residence 7 times so far, but he has yet to accept the paperwork. In the meantime, he keeps setting off Andrew's car alarm by revving his Harley's gas engine right next to the Tesla. Max was driving his Model 3 in Sweden on a snowy night. The roads had just been plowed, so they were very slippery. A semi-truck was approaching in the oncoming lane and signaled to turn left. As it slowed down, the trailer slid out into Max's lane. Max had to make an evasive maneuver without braking, since that might have caused him to lose control. His heart rate skyrocketed, but he regained his cool after a few seconds and remembered to start breathing again. Reito was driving his Model Y in Zurich, Switzerland, when he witnessed a car turning across a railroad track and getting hit by a train. Several people stopped and rushed over to the car. Reito didn't think much more about it until later, when he heard on the local news that the police were searching for any witnesses to the accident. Reito immediately sent them his Teslacam footage, since a debate over who was at fault had begun. The 81-year-old driver had to be rescued from his vehicle by firefighters. The 76-year-old passenger was able to get out of the car on her own. This video's submitter had been having trouble with a Hyundai driver speeding through his neighborhood, and on this day he experienced it firsthand. the driver of the Hyundai took the corner way too fast and spun out in front of the submitter's Model Y. He got out to talk with the driver of the Hyundai and asked him to slow down, but the guy just ignored him and raced away. Now he's asking the Wham Bam viewers, do you have any creative tips to help him stop this neighborhood street racer? Chad was driving in Maricopa, Arizona when a police chase ended right in front of him. A fleeing suspect ran a red light and crashed into a vehicle that was crossing the intersection. Chad and his girlfriend pulled over and jumped out to help. Police ran past them with guns drawn while they helped the two occupants of the car that had been hit. They were both okay, and the suspect was arrested without any further incident. Raphael was driving his Model 3 in a village in the Austrian Alps when he suddenly came face to face with a taxi. Fortunately, Raphael was able to put his car in reverse fast enough to move back a few feet and avoid an accident. The taxi driver got really upset, honked his horn and waved his hands around, but Raphael says that he's watched the Teslacam footage again and again, and he's sure he wasn't driving too fast. What do you think? Did he do something wrong? Boss was driving his Model S on a 2-lane highway in Germany with no speed limit. He was doing close to 200 kilometers an hour when a truck approached him in the wrong direction. Boss managed to move out of the way just in time. He sent this footage to the local police, but they couldn't read the license plate and never found the truck driver. Raphael was driving his Model 3 in France and was heading home from work when a traffic light ahead turned yellow. Raphael was able to stop at the light, but the driver of the truck behind him didn't even slow down and plowed right into him. The crash sent the Tesla into the middle of the intersection, and then the car completely shut down. They had to push it to the shoulder to clear the road. This was the first time Raphael has been involved in a serious crash. He's glad it happened while he was in his Tesla because the car absorbed the shock nicely and kept him very safe. Vincent and his brother were picking up their kids from a day at their parents' house, as they do every Wednesday, and their cars were parked on the road as usual. Here we see Vincent's brother walking up to his Opel, which was parked behind Vincent's Tesla. Vincent's brother strapped his son into the front passenger seat, jumped inside, and started his car. He then remembered that they'd forgotten a toothbrush in Granddad's car, so he left the car running, got out, and walked over to the car, which was parked in the driveway. While they were searching for the toothbrush in the back seat, they heard tires screeching, followed by a big crash. A car had smashed into the Opel at full speed. Vincent's brother and father ran to get the child out of the wrecked Opel, which had filled with smoke after the airbags deployed. As Vincent came running outside, he found his father walking inside to safety with his nephew in his arms. Luckily, he was unhurt, and we can actually see them through the window as they sit down on the couch to comfort him. Other people continued to drive down the road, so Vincent's father backed his car out of the driveway to block the road. Some drivers still chose to squeeze their way past the accident scene. Police arrived about 15 minutes later, and an ambulance showed up soon after that. Both Vincent's nephew and the Peugeot driver were checked by ambulance personnel, and luckily they had no injuries. Both the Opel and the Peugeot were totaled. Vincent's Model 3 received $12,000 in damage, and he's now been waiting for replacement parts for over a month. Peter was driving his Model 3 on US Route 101 in Santa Clara, California. Both Peter and the driver of the Model S in front of him changed lanes to take the San Tomas exit. Another driver decided to take the exit way too late, crossing over the solid line and almost crashing into the Model S. The Model S swerved out of the way to avoid an accident. Peter wonders if it was the driver or autopilot that reacted. What do you think? Let us know in a comment. Kelly had just picked up her wedding ring after getting it repaired and was heading for some famous Arizona Mexican food. She'd stopped for a red light in North Scottsdale when she heard a loud crunch. When she looked behind her, she saw the accident and how close the pickup truck had come to hitting her as well. She made sure that everyone was okay before pulling around to ensure she wasn't blocking traffic. Everyone involved was okay, but the occupants of the BMW were taken to the hospital to get checked out. Kelly waited for the cops to show them the Teslacam footage, but they said they couldn't watch it in her car and she needed to upload it to their website, which she did. The driver in front of this submitter turned on her hazard lights. He thought she was stopping, and that's why he decided to pull around her. Apparently she hadn't parked because she sped up to him and started tailgating him very closely. At the next red light, she pulled up next to him and they both rolled down their windows. The submitter tells us she was furious. Teslacam doesn't capture audio, so we have no idea what was said, but when she drove off, she threw something at the Tesla. The submitter heard the loud thud and turned to follow the Nissan. She slammed on her brakes and came to a complete stop, and then her trunk popped open. She then got out of her car and claimed that the submitter had hit her and that's why her trunk had opened. She took pictures of her bumper before the submitter told her that there was no need for that since he'd captured the entire incident on video. I guess Teslacam won that battle because she got back into her car and they both drove away. Dot was driving his Model Y in Orange County, Florida, when he noticed a big pickup truck in his rearview mirror. As he suspected, the driver cut in front of him over a solid line just to roll coal on him. I wonder if the truck driver thought the reaction inside the Tesla would be, "Wow, that's amazing! Darn, I really wish my car could fart smoke like that. That guy is so cool." Simon got home and parked his Model X in his driveway to charge. 5 minutes later, the car slid down the driveway and onto the sidewalk. If it had happened 10 seconds earlier, it would have hit his neighbor who'd been walking his dogs. Both the charge port and the cord were damaged. The total repair cost was just over 1,000 Canadian dollars or about 800 US dollars. We've seen quite a few videos now of charging Teslas just sliding away. Does anyone have any idea why this happens? Simon asked us to give a shout out to his son Tyler, who loves watching the channel. Hey there, Tyler. We hope you're satisfied. Tristan witnessed a Buick crashing into a Lincoln before crashing into a Nissan. The driver of the Buick then left the scene of the accident, recklessly driving his totaled, smoking car through traffic and in the emergency lane before taking the nearest exit. Tristan contacted the police, but nobody involved in the crash had reported the accident. The police eventually received multiple reports and checked the area, but the other cars apparently left as well. Hayden was rear-ended by a Honda not once, not twice, but 3 times, just to make sure the damage was done right. Honda bump, Honda bump, Honda bump. I bet the Honda PR team loves our channel. Roll the song.
Jump in!